Welcome back, everybody, aboard Blurred Force One with your boys, Mo and Lottie. And this is the Supercast. The Supercast, where we talk about all things superhero in our pop culture media, and that's movies, TV shows, video games. We talk about the news, do some speculation, all that good nerdy stuff. And before we get into this podcast, do us a favor, get down there, hit like on this video, or if you're catching this on one of the many podcasting sites, go ahead and give us a good old review, 5-star if you could. That helps out with the channel, and it helps out so more people will see and hear this podcast. So, Lottie, welcome back. First of all, how you doing, man? What's been going on?
And I'm exhausted. Been burning the midnight oil since Sunday working on a animation, and I finally finished. It's on my Instagram, and man, it was well worth it. Everyone loves it. So
Tight. Oh, do the kids say tight anymore? I don't know. Well, that's cool, man. So that's your nerdy stuff for the week, or did you have time to actually check out anything else?
no, man. Then basically, as soon as I get home, I'll exercise, and I'm on the computer till 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning every night, just working on it. Now that I'm finally done, right after this, I'm probably gonna catch some Z's, or you know, just chill out and watch something.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a good time for it. The summer TV season is in full effect. I haven't been really doing too much nerdy, except last weekend I checked out. Me and Jennifer watched, and you heard I texted you about it. I'm a Virgo. I'm a Virgo on Amazon Prime Video.
Hmm.
It was just a ridiculous. It's a really strange show, which something you rarely see, which is just black people are in the city or urban or whatever you want to call it, but also weird sci-fi strangeness. It's a
Hmm.
really interesting show, and suggest if you just kind of want to just have your head sort of like messed with, just go ahead and check it out. I think it's pretty
Hmm.
good. And of course, I also have been working on the channel and everything like that, and just catching up on my TV, man. It's hard out there for someone who wants to play video games and TV. You got to pick one nowadays. So I got back to
Yep.
watching The Wonder Years, and was watching Godfather of Harlem. So those are two shows you should definitely be watching. And of course, I review The Wonder Years, so check that out. But that's not the nerdy stuff we came here to talk about today. We came here to talk about superheroes, and in particular, we got several big news items. But in our news items this week, we're going to talk about the box office. We've been keeping up with it. What's been going on with the 3 comic book movies that are in theaters right now? Big news for the DC universe. The Superman and Lois characters have been cast. Who are they, and how do we feel about them? Anthony Mackie says some things he didn't necessarily have to say about Jonathan Majors, and we're going to ask why. And then we're going to talk about the working conditions on Across the Spider-Verse, and what do they mean for the upcoming movie, and what do they say about the state of the animation industry. And then, of course, at the tail end, we're going to talk about Secret Invasion episode 1 and 2. It's a third of the way through the series. What do we think about this new Marvel Cinematic Universe TV show? So, Lottie, we got a lot to cover. You ready to go, man?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, let's get into it. So we're being box office nerds right now while superhero things are in the theater. And Lottie, I think I'll make it official. I think this is gonna be our last week. We're gonna talk about Guardians of the Galaxy 3. It is currently it's been in theaters for, I want to say, 8 weeks, 9 weeks now, something like that. Or it's going
Hmm.
on its 9th weekend this coming weekend. So let's talk about it. Guardians, as I keep saying, huge win. It's a big old dub for Marvel Studios and for Disney. It had a pretty nice little drop. But like at this point, the weekend to weekend drop's not that significant, but it has sort of started making less than $1 million a day, and on the weekend making something like maybe 1 million. I think this last weekend it pulled in $3.5 million, which is still really nice for an eighth weekend. But it has passed $830 million. It's at 832, and I think it's gonna pass 835. I think in the long run, but it's settling around where I suspected it would. Lottie, I mean, it's it's doing what we thought, man. It's doing what we thought. It didn't quite get to Wakanda Forever, but still quite not just respectable, a big win. So, what do you think about these final days of its time in theater?
I wish more people went and watched it, like how they went and watched the original Guardians of the Galaxies, but I can't complain. Guardians, it Guardians 3 definitely made his money, and just James Gunn saying peace out to the MCU with Disney saying no, please, we'll triple your money.
You
But
didn't appreciate me while you had me.
that's actually kind of foreshadowing into what we're going to talk about later. Um, but yeah, like yeah, Guardians is doing well. It did what it needed to do. I wish it still would have gotten a billion, but it was a good movie and it deserved to make profit.
Yeah, and it's definitely doing that, and I suspect we'll see it on Disney Plus. Let's see. Like I said, this is the ninth week. I suspect in another month and that. Have you? And I think this is a thing, except for movies that are clearly not going to make their money in the theater. I think that they're definitely going, you know, 3-4 months, maybe more, before they put things in on Disney Plus. So we might see it maybe August on Disney Plus. Well, we'll
We're
let
talking
you
about on
guys.
Disney Plus. On Disney
Yeah,
Plus, no, I
yeah.
don't see this movie coming out on Disney Plus until probably about November.
Think so?
They're
I'd be
nah,
surprised.
they're gonna they're I think they're gonna give it the almost Wakanda Forever treatment. Because
Yeah,
remember, Wakanda Forever didn't come out.
I think it
It
was it
didn't get.
5 months?
Yeah,
I think it
that's
might have
it.
been 5 months. Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah, October might not be wrong. So,
yeah.
but we'll see. We'll let you guys know when we find out. But congratulations to the Guardians crew. And that leads us, of course, to the Across the Spider Verse, and it has gone. I believe it was it in its fifth weekend. I want to say fourth weekend. Um, had a 29.6% drop, made $19 million. So it's now worldwide as of today. It's $569 million on its way, I believe, to at least 600, but probably more like 615, something like that. I think, and doing quite well. I think, especially for an animated feature. Yeah, it's not Mario. It's not making Mario money, but I think I understand why it's not making Mario money. It's definitely a more mature story, and it's definitely it's not gonna have the take me back and see it because I'm 5 years old and I love Mario appeal. Um, but still, that thing is definitely a big. It's also a big win. It could potentially double the first. It would have to make 650 mil to double the first one, but still, it could get close, and that's definitely a big win, considering how
Uh,
much they spent on it.
The reason I have a theory of why uh, Mario made so much money as it did. You know what Mario is? Mario is a here, shut the fuck up for a couple of hours while I take you to the movie theaters. That is why Mario made as much money as it did because there hasn't been a movie. Because let's be honest, Disney hasn't produced
A
like a
Frozen.
really
They
like
haven't done. They haven't made a Frozen or Frozen 2 in a while.
yeah, they haven't made a like a compelling animated movie in like about a couple of years now. So people have been craving for that movie that they can just take their kids to and just be like, shut up for about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Leave me alone for about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Right.
So that was this movie, and
Yeah.
that's why it made as much money. While Spider-Man is not a movie like that. Spider-Man is a more of an adult film where you as an adult have to make time out of your day to go see. And especially, animation still has this little bit of a stigma for adults still to this day, which is kind of ridiculous because I know a lot of MCU fans eh, or live action Spider-Man fans like, oh, I'm not watching Spider-Verse. It's a cartoon. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you talk about L, big L takes. Like that's ridiculous. Like Spider-Verse is easily better than almost every, like, think of the last 10 MCU movies and it's better than like all but maybe 4 of those.
Yeah.
Of the last 10 MCU movies. So like, and even then I'd say it's I'd still say it's better. This is again subjective. This is how I'm feeling about it. But I think it's better than Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Across Spider-Verse is a better movie. Yeah.
I think it's better than that. So like,
that's not a hot take. That's not a hot take at all. I completely agree. That's not a hot take.
But I mean, yeah, you're right. The stigma against animation. That's all right. I have a feeling though, this movie's gonna make money when it hits streaming and VOD and physical.
Man, Sony
I think
only spent $100 million on this movie, man. They only spent $100 million. Sony is freaking they are.
They're Scrooge McDuck in this shit right now.
Man.
They're in the money bin, like backstroking right now. Like, and
they
apparently
broke even. They broke even probably the first day or something like that.
Well, they would have taken them to make about 300 mil to break even, but still they did that. And also apparently this is the highest grossing Sony Pictures animation movie. So it's a win. Like obviously we know that. We just want it to be like, I honestly want Beyond the Spider-Verse. I'm crossing my fingers. I want it to break $1 billion.
Oh, the new one? Oh, the third one? The third one's gonna get $1 billion. That's not that. That is a guarantee. The third one that comes out, $1 billion. That is gonna make $1 billion.
It's probably not coming out in March, though. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's not coming out in March, but I can almost guarantee you it's gonna make $1 billion.
Yeah.
Because think about it, it's doubled each time.
Yeah.
It's gonna make $1 billion.
Yeah, I hope so. I honestly, I don't know, the movie, it's just, as you say, it gets better, but also I feel like, they primed the pump, if you will, for this next movie, so that it's not really a situation where, where they're taking a chance or anything like that. So I think it's gonna get better. We're gonna see. Anyway, now it's time for the final one, and that of course is The Flash. And Lottie, we already know. We knew what time it was with The Flash. Even though The Flash is a good movie, damn it. In fact, I would say it's a great movie. I won't say good. I'll say it's a great movie. It's not better than any of the ones that are in the theater right now. It's, if it were ranked among the MCU movies that came out, it'd be like in the below the top 5, but it's still pretty damn good. But that don't mean anything to the people going to the theater, man, because that drop off. That drop off was like something else. Worst second weekend ever, right? And just like making, I don't want to say making no money, but like I think it was a 72% drop, something like that. And that's horrible. That there's no way of looking at that anyway except horrible. I think it's at $216 million worldwide right now, and that's terrible. Like,
it's a lost cause, man.
Oh, when I say terrible, I mean like, it's no other way to look at it. It's a huge flop. It's the only flop bigger than that right now is Shazam 2. And that's not, like, this thing might not even make as much as Black Adam. And I don't, why? It's better than Black Adam in every conceivable way.
It's because, man, I'm telling you, man, Ezra Miller. I'm telling you.
I don't know.
You will be surprised, man.
By itself.
You will be surprised. You will be surprised, man. I'm telling you, you will be surprised. A lot of people, even normal people, I'm serious, man. Normal people are not happy with how Ezra Miller is being treated compared to a person we're about to talk about. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, you will be surprised how many normal people are actually paying attention what is going on, and they are not happy.
Right.
I know quite a few people, man, that were like, no, I'm not watching that movie. Nope.
I don't know. Look, I feel like not as many people know about that as maybe we think. But even if they did, and that I think again, remember I told you before about them poisoning the whale against, Ezra Miller, and against the movie because of Ezra Miller. Like, yeah, maybe so, but I have a feeling though this really is the death of the DCEU combined with the fact that the last few DCEU movies haven't been all that good, and
Yeah.
people are just like, I'll just look at it on HBO. So, the same way that Marvel's sort of been conditioning people to just be like, or Disney has been conditioning people to be like, oh, I'll wait for it to go to Disney Plus. Same thing's been happening with with HBO Max. And I don't know why they want to do it like that. I just don't. Um, their that strategy has screwed up their box office. And now it's starting to get to, it's starting to get to things that actually should make money. You know what I'm saying? Like they actually
Yeah.
should be making more money than that. And
Yeah.
either way, it's kind of messed up, but um yeah, too bad for the Flash. In fact, I'll just say this: we're just not going to cover the Flash anymore after this week. Is that fair?
Yeah. It's not gonna make money.
Yeah, it's just I think it's such a lost cause at this moment that I don't think it's worth even talking about anymore. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's too bad. It's actually a legitimately good movie, you know. So anyway, that's all the box office stuff, and we'll keep coming back when we talk about Spider-Verse in the future. But we say farewell to Guardians of the Galaxy and also the Flash uh, for the coming versions of the podcast. So moving on to our next item, we got big news, Lottie. Big news, and that is that the DCU, the upcoming reboot of the DC universe, now has its Superman, and it has its Lois Lane. Uh, and they're I don't even know if you know these people. I didn't really know them. Uh, I well, wait, it's Rachel Brosnahan, and let me see if is it David Corin Sweat. Never heard of one of them. But I did know Rachel Brosnahan because she is the star of the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel on Amazon Prime, which is not a show that I watch, but it is a show that I was aware of. And so she's going to be Lois Lane. Corin Sweat, I don't know him from anything. Apparently, he's been in some stuff or whatever, but he's pretty unknown to me. But what I will say is, kind of looks like. I mean, if you had to say
No, it's not kinda.
oh
It's
wait, well
not
if
kinda.
you had to say what does Kal-El look like? I mean, if you
Oh
said
no.
this guy, you wouldn't be off. You wouldn't be wrong about it. You know.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say something
Well,
else.
so other people be saying like he looks like like a shriveled down Henry Cavill. I'm like,
Yeah.
y'all
He looks like a
chill out with
young
that.
he looks like a young Henry Cavill. He does. He really does. Like there's some pictures that if you look at it, he looks like Henry Cavill l- younger. Like he does. Like they knew what they were doing when they went and got this guy. He's tall, he looks the part, you know. He looks good with his shirt off. They know what they were doing when they went and got this guy.
Right. Well, I mean, again, He does look the part. I think he's tall. I think he's a reasonably tall guy too.
He's 6'4".
Yeah, I mean he's reasonably tall. Like that's tall. He's taller than I am by a little bit. But also, if people are like, "Oh, he done got the muscles," I'm like, "Well, y'all, do y'all not know how this shit works? Like, what kind of stupid, criticism is that? Okay, yeah, he's not jacked up like Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill wasn't jacked up like Henry Cavill either when he got cast as Superman. Like, y'all chill on that. Neither was Chris Evans. Didn't look like Captain America either. It's Kumail Nanjiani did not look like he does now. Before he got cast, in Eternals. It's not terribly difficult to get a hot, one of these personal trainers to get you bulked up and looking like you should have on spandex. That's not hard. My question is, can the man act? That's all I want to know. And I'm gonna give James Gunn the benefit of the doubt here, because I trust that James Gunn knows what the hell he's doing when it comes to casting people, and that this is the guy for his Superman movie. Rachel Brosnahan, I will only say this: she's had led the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel for its up to its upcoming 5th and final season. So 5 seasons of anything, you know something. And also, hey, she's won an Emmy and a Golden Globe, so maybe she does know something about acting. So I'll take both of them.
Yeah.
Now I just need to know who they casting as Jimmy Olsen. Who's the black guy they're gonna have as Jimmy Olsen, because that seems to be a thing that DC loves doing, is race swapping Jimmy Olsen and every damn thing. Even though I say, why not make him Asian or Native American? That'd be cool too. Or literally, I mean, anybody else. Or let's be weird, Lottie. Let's think outside of the box here. Let's make Jimmy Olsen a ginger white dude. That
a ginger white dude.
So that seems to not be to not be the thing they want to do, is just make Jimmy Olsen just be good old white Jimmy Olsen. let's flip the script on it, if you will. So. Or even better, let's make Jimmy Olsen a girl. Or we could go all over the place with this. Anyway,
I think James Gunn's gonna be traditional.
Oh,
I think he's gonna be traditional.
Okay. This is godlike right here. Sean Gunn as Jimmy Olsen. Bam! Don't it? 10 out of 10. No notes. There we go. Get Craglet in there as Jimmy Olsen. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He looks like he's way too old to be hanging around with Superman. But hey, it's if Sean Gunn's gonna be in here, put him in there. You sound like you're speechless with how great an idea that was.
He's gonna put his family in there. So that's not that is a foregone conclusion.
Yeah. So anyway, I think this is good casting. But we got a while before we see them in anything. So maybe we'll see them at Comic-Con if all things work out, but if not, hopefully sometime next year. So we'll let you guys know more about it when we get to it. So this is kind of as an aside. This wasn't even one thing we're going to talk about. Lottie, the Actors Guild, SAG, their contract is up like tomorrow. I want to say tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, I know about it.
So we hadn't talked about it. We've been talking about the writers and everything. The writers, of course, have been on strike for like 2 months now. But the SAG, SAG-AFTRA, they have not come to a deal with the Producers Guild or PTP. So we could very well see 2 guilds striking. And if 2 guilds are striking, well, man, movies and TV are fucked for the next 4 or 5 months, maybe more if they keep playing around. So I wanted to mention that. I don't know how do you feel about that? We literally could not have I mean, I've already said we could not have fall TV, but we could not have any new movies until like well into next year. I mean, not obviously for the rest of the year, but I'm talking about new movies that are being worked on.
Better pay. I gotta say. That's all I gotta say. Because you rather pay than not pay at all.
Yeah.
I mean, the writers, you could probably get away with what you were gonna do, but actors, you gotta have actors. You can't AI actors.
Can't they?
No.
Yeah, we got some stuff to talk about AI stuff and Secret Invasion. But yeah, I mean, look, that's the whole crux of like what the writers and the actors are worried about is this whole deep fake AI shit that's going on, and how obviously these companies are gonna do whatever they can to cut out the little man just so they can still make profits. So I don't know.
That's why the government needs to. That's why the government needs to step in and regulate AI. They got to.
Well, I think we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see some movement on this, but I don't think. I honestly, I'm at the point where I don't think the writers and actors are gonna get what they want. I think that they're going to end up having to compromise in a way that's gonna make AI continue to be a threat to their jobs. Like, I just feel like the big corporations are like, yeah, we'll hold out some more. We got plenty of stuff from around the world that we can play, and we also got all this reality stuff. We'll see who blinks first. So it's not like almost 20 years ago. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll let you guys know more when we hear some more about. I'm thinking that SAG-AFTRA is going to strike though, so we'll see. But anyway, back to the supercast stuff. Lottie, sometimes people are in interviews and they're just kind of asked stuff about shit that doesn't really have anything to do with them. And what would be the reasonable thing to do if it's something that don't got nothing to do with you? I mean, you obviously, what would you even give an opinion? But somebody tell Anthony Mackie that, like, he was being interviewed about of all things, this terrible, I'm gonna say it, this terrible looking what is the name of that video game? Twisted Metal. The Twisted Metal TV show. I don't know if you saw the trailer for it. It looks pretty shitty. I'm gonna say looks pretty shitty. When I love Anthony Mackie, by not like don't get it twisted, metal, but I like Anthony Mackie a lot. But I was like, why are you doing this show at all? First of all, why are they making this? It's like 20 years too late. But also, why would you do this one? It looks stupid. It looks awful. I'm gonna absolutely watch it, but it does not look good. But they were talking to him about that, and of course they got to ask him about the MCU because he's Captain America now. And then Jonathan Majors comes up, and I'm just like, why? Just didn't your publicist be like, hey, if they say something about Anthony Mackie, just be like, hey, it's about Jonathan Majors, just say be like, oh, I don't know anything about it. No, next question. But no, he had some things to say about it, and I'll paraphrase because he pretty much was just like, hey, all the facts aren't out, and I thought we were guilty until proven innocent, and I thought that's the way this was supposed to be in this country, but everyone should be innocent until proven guilty. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. I'm not. And the thing is, I agree about that, but you got to understand that's in a court of law, man. Like that, we're not. And what we're talking about has nothing to do with the court of law and has everything to do with the court of public opinion. And in the court of public opinion, you're guilty if people don't like you, right?
Yeah.
Or if they don't like what you represent, or they don't like, who you associate with. So, I mean, thank you for that little bit of civic civic PSA or whatever, but why would you step into that? Like why would I mean, I guess on one hand, I guess I can understand, sort of trying to support other black actors. So like I get that. But like, man, is this the thing to be doing, the time to be doing that? I don't know, Lottie. Am I just being like, am I being too I don't even want to call it sensitive, but am I just reading too much into this?
I'll say this. I'll say this. I like that he actually said something about it because he, you know, I mean, it's nothing is yeah, it's final yet, but like, there's definitely some more information out there that's making it more and more. So you're beginning to say to yourself that you can understand why black actors are starting to come out and say, "Oh yeah, uh, oh yeah, we're gonna defend this guy if we talk about him." So I don't mind him standing up to his belief and saying, "No, if they're gonna talk about it, let's talk about it." Recorded public opinion, because he has the platform to do it. So, you know, he did what was right. I'm not saying he didn't really make too much of a hot take or really said anything that I feel anybody that matters will get mad on. So
Yeah. Well, you would think, right? You would think, oh man, that's not a controversial. You're right. It's innocent until proven guilty. And yet, I guarantee you, people are like, how dare he defend Jonathan Majors? Which is not what he did. He just said, hey, we don't know everything, right? We don't know everything, and it's innocent until proven guilty. But I'm just like, I just want to be like, dude, you know, you're older than I am. You should know better than that. And so you're older than I am, and you're a celebrity. You know that it's guilty, innocent until proven guilty is not the way things actually work. Like, at least amongst people, that's not how it happens. And so now you're gonna get lumped into having to defend Jonathan Majors, no matter what, whether innocent, guilty, whatever the hell. You guys are tied to each other. Which, I mean, like I said, supporting another black actor, okay, I can get that. And also, y'all are probably gonna work together, so you don't want to shit talk anybody that you're gonna work with in the future, right? Theoretically, you could work together in the future. I get that. This feels like a no comment sort of situation to me. Um, but
I get your point.
yeah, it's, I mean, like, why get tied to something you don't have to? Is my question. But
Yeah, I
hey,
completely get your point.
but
I
this
completely get your
yeah,
point.
but this does not change my feelings of about Anthony Mackie and his role as Captain America. But I mean, just like, maybe next time, just be like, that ain't got shit to do with me. Move on. So anyway, um, we'll see if he has more to say in the future. I suspect his publicist is like, bitch, no, don't say anything else. Just be quiet. You said enough. Stop. Um, so anyway, we'll let you guys know. And finally, we got to talk about something that I feel like, Lottie, you're gonna have a lot to say about this. But we love Across the Spider-Verse. We like the first Into the Spider-Verse. We love Across the Spider-Verse. So I was really damn dismayed when I saw this shit come across my social media about the working conditions on Across the Spider-Verse. Because we know they had like almost 1,000, or at least 1,000 people that worked on this movie. Animators from around the world. Um, it's a 2 hour and like 20-minute movie, and it took 5 years for them to get it together. All that stuff. But they what was it, Vulture? They basically had an article talking about the ridiculous kind of demands and like demands on people's times and their livelihoods, and Phil Lord apparently being way too demanding, and then they having to do work over and over again, and all this other stuff. And supposedly 100 people quit the project over the course of the years. and there was a few anonymous people talking about the behind the scenes and what their frustrations and the things that they kind of had to get on with, including including 11-hour days, 7 days a week for months on end. And it's Lottie, I don't know. I mean, I could say more. It's shit's crazy to me, and it's making me feel like I did when we were talking about the Marvel not paying animation, not paying the VFX people and kind of running them into the ground. So I don't know. You read and heard about all this. You talk about video games often. What how did this make you feel reading? And what do you think's the problem, and how can they, in your mind, how can they go about sort of dealing with it?
Well, honestly, man, it sounds about right. I mean, it's animation is not far off from gaming. It's just not. So, um, when I heard this, when I saw this, I was just like, yeah, it sounds about right. Because somebody who does animations myself, I can just tell you right now, animation is very difficult, and it's just there's really almost nothing you can do. If you want to get a movie out in time, it's going to be long. If you choose certain just jobs, it's just going to be like that, you know. Because remember, I just told you, just me working on a 1 minute and 30-second video, I will stay up. I stayed up like I started Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock, and I stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning. So 12 hours. Guys, 12 hours, and I did this all the way till Wednesday. And that's just for a minute and 30 seconds. Imagine 2 hours. You know what I mean?
Well,
It,
it was worse too because they were talking about redoing, completely finishing shots, only to have them be scrapped or to be told to redo them, or they have different ideas. So they're talking about doing completed rendered animation, and then having to either completely undo it or just cut it completely. Like,
yeah,
it's
that's like I said,
ridiculous.
man. It's one of those, like I said, me who's into animation now. I'm not giving the devil's advocate, but I'm telling you from like the perspective of somebody who animates by himself. I completely see it because there's been times, man. I spent literally like I'm telling you, man. There was a time yesterday. It was actually yesterday. I spent 4 hours animating a part, and when I finally got it done and I looked at the final results, I scrapped it. 4 hours
Right.
gone because I didn't like how it looked afterwards, and that was just myself. You know what I mean? It's crazy, man. And it's just how animation is. It's like the same. It's like that in gaming. It's like that in VFX. Anything like this where you're not actually using practical stuff, it's hard for me to say. It's almost like you gotta see it flow with other things, because like you can work on a scene, right, and you'll be like, okay, this looks great, but if you put it next to another scene, it looks terrible. You know what I mean? It's just, man, I feel bad. Like, I really do feel bad for these guys, because like what I go through just to make a 1 minute and 30-second video, I can imagine what they're going through. 11-hour shifts sounds about right. Like I said, if I went into animations as a job, that's probably what I'll be doing. Just working all the time. I remember I was watching a person talk about the animation of Spider Verse, and I mean across the Spider Verse, and he was showing a shot. He was like, the person who worked on this probably didn't see his kid for like 3 months, and he's like, yeah, probably. You know,
Which is like, I mean, that's ridiculous.
yes,
It's
it is. It is. It is.
and what's worse about that like we're talking about SAG-AFTRA and the Writers Guild. Well, you know what? There's an animation guild, but they get shit on. And like a lot of these animation houses that are subcontracted aren't guild members. So there's no protections, there's not, there's no guaranteed overtime, there's no salary minimums. Like it's shit, it sounds like a fucking sweatshop. And like
Yeah.
to be perfectly honest, this should not be normal. Like look, I love the movie. It kind of pisses me off that that's the sort of thing that's required to get to the level of animation that we got. And I'm gonna be very honest right here. I feel this way not just about you know the animation industry. I don't feel this just way just about Hollywood and how they make movies. I feel this about any industry, any business, anywhere. If the only way for you to make your fucking money is to exploit people like this, then you don't need to be fucking doing it. Like I love this movie. I'd rather we didn't get it than to exploit people like this. And yeah, I don't care if they voluntarily get exploited. I don't give a fuck about that. The truth is, even if someone volunteered to be your slave, that doesn't mean enslaving them is all right. Just because they volunteered to fucking do it. Just because these people are like, and they're volunteering with the promise of getting on to doing better things and to be a director one day and to do, you know what? They're trying to follow their dreams. I get that shit. But that's no reason to fucking take advantage of people. And that's what it feels like right here. It's taking advantage of people. And when you hear about like, and this is just, these are the people, they're claiming that this is what went on. About essentially making a movie without a full plan and, blocked out things and everything like that. And they're essentially building a house with no fucking plans. And is that the way to fucking do it? This shit feels exploitative in the same way that comics feels exploitative, in the same way that VFX houses feel exploitative. These are people who don't have union protections and they're being exploited with it. And we're just kind of turning a blind eye to it. Like, we didn't fucking know about this because why would we? But now we're hearing about this stuff. And this shit's not okay. Like, if your whole business model requires someone to be exploited, then your business model sucks and you need to stop fucking doing it. So, I mean, this shit gets me heated. Like, I don't like that shit. And we're supposed to just play along with this stuff. Like, it's not right.
Yeah. I agree.
and don't get me started on the fucking video game industry. Like that that's a whole, the fucked up thing about the video game industry is it's the same reason why I don't like the way they work in the video game industry and animation. The same reason I don't like this grind culture bullshit. Like, why would you take pride in working all your fucking waking hours trying to get ahead? If that's the way you have to try to get ahead, you're like, you're not working hard enough. No, motherfucker, you're not paying enough. That's the problem. It's not you're not working hard enough. That's that fucking trap that they like to get you in to make you work harder for less. They do that shit in it all the time. Why are we fucking celebrating this? That culture is bad. And this whole grind culture and tech and animation and VFX is fucking toxic. Like, I'd rather we get less stuff. I'd rather have less movies, less spectacle movies and everything, and these people get treated right. I don't know. I'm off my soapbox now, Lottie.
I agree with you, man. I'm not disagreeing with you. It is crazy. I completely agree. It's sad when you hear these people have to work as many hours as they have to get stuff done, because that is just the way the industry is. And I wish it wasn't like that, but that's how they do it.
Yep. But I gotta have my video game. I gotta have my new Call of Duty. I gotta have my new Pixar movie. I gotta have my new Marvel movie, right? Fuck the workers. That's the same shit that goes on, in other industries where people are just like, I don't give a fuck, just give me my thing. You know what? This race to the bottom bullshit is exactly the reason why we need unions. So we can stop, because if we have to sit and wait for each other to give a fuck about each other, to give a damn about the people that are making your food, or keeping your car running or whatever, or making movies that you want to watch. If all you care about is the end product and you don't care how it gets to you, then that's a problem. And it's a problem that we need to fucking overcome, because real people make these things. AI is not doing this shit. Like no matter what Moneybags Mickey wants to say about it, AI can't do the things that people can do right now. So until then, we need to treat people like actual human beings that have lives and families and financial obligations, and actually pay them what they're worth and don't work them to fucking death because they're not slaves. And I've just okay. Anyway, I'm not gonna keep going on about it. It shit sucks. It pisses me off. I hate that that's what's going on there, and I hope Sony gets their shit together because there's no reason they can't make Beyond the Spider-Verse in a more reasonable manner. And that's one of the way you can start is by knowing what the fuck you want to do before you start paying people to start animating stuff. Let's just try that. So, anyway, I'm sure we'll hear more about this in the future. We will talk about it when we hear more information. So, all right, those are all our news items for this week. But maybe we missed something, or just maybe you had something to say about that epic rant that I just went on, or some other things. So either way, whatever you're thinking, get down to the comment section and leave your thoughts there. And of course, you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. All right, Lottie, it's time for us to get into our review of Secret Invasion, show about the Skrull invasion of the Earth. Nick Fury has to stop them. He's got no superheroes at all to help him out. It's just him and Talos, and I guess that's it. Maybe Rhodey. So, Lottie, I mean, is it fair to say, I mean, you were reasonably anticipating this show, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it sounds good. I know the comic version of this it's really like it's a pretty big story, and I was actually really surprised that they would even go there. Yeah, they set up Skrulls coming, to Earth in Captain Marvel in the 90s, but I was surprised they were going to go with the whole they're going to take over Earth thing. Especially because they weren't going to have any superheroes. Like, probably not. Which one of the Avengers is going to come back for this, right? Especially considering everything that happened with Endgame and all the stuff going on in Phase 4. So, but it looked like they were going for a Winter Soldier sort of deal, right? So, yeah. I mean, who doesn't want more of that? So, anyway, Lottie, we both got a chance to watch the first 2 episodes. Entitled what is it? Resurrection for episode 1 and Promises for episode 2. So we're just gonna do both of them at the same time. So I don't know, Lottie, what do you think about these?
That I'm about to bring back what I foreshadowed earlier. I'm sorry, James Gunn did it better. He just did. Because this show has a lot of similarities to Peacemaker. Has a lot of similarities to Peacemaker, and I'm just saying to myself that this shouldn't be a Peacemaker-like show. Because, in my opinion, I think the Skrull should have been a phase. Should have been a phase itself instead of a TV show. The show's a little bit of a slow burn. It's telling the story of a semi-broken Nick Fury that's, I guess, lost in the world and trying to figure out what he's gonna do. And now I guess there's some pissed off Skrulls, and I'm like, hey man, you can't be mad at Nick Fury because you guys are being lazy at the same time. Shit.
I don't know. I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, they're not wrong. I mean, in the same way I looked at the Flag Smasher, I'm like, but are they wrong though? Like, you got to think about this. This back in the early 90s, Nick Fury is like, work for me and me and Carol Danvers are totally going to find you a planet. And then I'm like, he comes back. I'm like, it's been 30 years, dog. When you going to do this? Like, I understand Skrulls live a long time, but dude, you don't. Like, maybe you should do something about it. You literally promised these people.
Speaking of which, I'll say that is the biggest plot hole of that whole thing, because, well, I won't say plot hole. I'll say biggest oversight or just what the fuck was Nick Fury doing when the Guardians of the fucking Galaxy were on Earth? Just
He's like,
yeah,
yeah, it is.
just hmm.
Yeah, I feel like, look, I just like, real quick. So before we get into spoilers, I, give my ideas. I think the show's fine. Like, I'm not feeling particularly strong. I didn't feel the first episode. I was like, oh, this is how you're leading this. Okay. I mean, yeah, some stuff happened. It was pretty messed up, and yeah, I mean, sure, this is a spy thing that's happening. All right, Nick Fury, you kind of suck right now. Like, I'm looking at the scroll, insurrection. I'm thinking like, but I mean, I get where they're coming from. I don't want them to win, but I get where they're coming from. But beyond that, I was just like, man, Nick, you not just lost you haven't just lost a step. You literally shouldn't be in the game. And if it weren't for like the intrigue at the end of that episode, I'd be like, what the hell was the point of this first episode? Even though I will say that I did like Olivia Colman, the MI6 leader. I liked her a lot. And sure, Amelia Clark as Gaia, cool, but whose side is she really on and everything. But I was really underwhelmed by Talos and by Nick Fury in that first episode. And everyone was like, you lost a step. I'm like, man, no shit, dude. Ew, like, what are you doing? But they sort of redeemed them. They sort of redeemed it in the second episode, even though it still felt like Nick Fury was on the back foot the whole damn time. After that first.
So okay, I'm a little confused. So how many years has it been since Endgame in the canonical story of Marvel?
Well, you have to remember. So Infinity War took place in 2018. There's a 5-year jump. So Infinity War is 2018, Endgame is 2023, right? And within Marvel itself has been 2 years. Like, so post Endgame has been 2 years. To my understanding,
He's lost that much of steps in 2 years. Phew.
Well,
Oof.
I mean, look. Well, see, that's the thing. The second episode really establishes how old he is, and he's in his 70s. Nick Fury is essentially the same age that Sam Jackson is. You could say, because he talks about riding in the colored car from Alabama on a train, and like, so we know that's into the 60s maybe, So he was I did a little bit of math and I was like, he's probably born in 1950 something or 1940 something. Because you remember he was gone for 5 years. So he's 5 years younger than he would have been. So he's probably born in like the mid to late 40s, right? So he's in his 70s right now. But like all of that's kind of whatever, relative to like a lot of the stuff that was going on in the second episode wasn't as much about him, even though it's half about him and half about Gravik and what his deal is, why he's, and just how far he's willing to go. And also, you get Olivia Colman's character who, she's great. I loved what she did in the whole torture scene and everything like that was pretty dang good. But I'm just disappointed by, I hate to say it, disappointed by Ben Mendelsohn in this show. Like this isn't his fault. It's the writing has kind of, nerfed Talos in a way where he's not as interesting.
Yeah.
His Gaia's not even terribly interesting either. She's just kind of like a yes man right now. So all of the interesting stuff that's going on is really about Gravik and his coup to take over the council, the Skrull Council. And what's Nick Fury going to do about it? Oh, and also you get Rhodey in the episode and Rhodey gives him the business, which, by the way, I love that whole scene. It was that whole scene between Fury and Rhodey pretty damn good. I liked what was said, but man, he gave him the business. So like, at the end of it, you finally get that last little stinger at the end of the episode. I was like, a lot of shit happened in this episode. I'm with it. I'm intrigued. but like this, we're all set up right now. You know what I'm saying? It's been 100% set up, and I don't see where, I'm not sure where the end game is pointing. And so, as cool as interesting a lot of that has been, especially with Rhodey being in there, I just feel like, you know, you guys are slow walking for no reason. You literally could have made this a movie, right?
Yeah, like that's why I said it's a slow, like a extremely slow burn. Like it's one of those things that I'm just watching and I'm just saying to myself, like, why? Why is like why are you taking this long to do all of this? You know? We get, because the scrolls have been established. It was like, here's the thing that I think Marvel sometimes need to understand about their cinematic universe. Aliens exist in your cinematic universe. You don't have to super explain it to people. You know what I mean? And you don't have to do all this crazy stuff with the humans. The humans, I mean, these are people that just half of the population didn't exist 5 years ago. You know, I'm just like, stop over explaining stuff. You didn't, that over explaining ended in the mid 2010s. At this point, if you don't know what the heck is going on, you need to go back and rewatch. Like, that's just how I just feel. It's just
Well, I mean, how many people are going to? In fact, I'll say, and this is related to, like, the viewership numbers on this are low, and I have to tell you, I don't blame people. Like,
yeah,
and now, mind you, I like the show so far, but I don't blame people because they're just like, the hell does this have to do with anything? You know?
yeah,
Which, I mean, we'll talk about it in spoilers. This does have a lot to do with a lot of things, but you know, what's the hook? What is the hook for this show? Why should somebody watch this? If you like MCU things, and you know, it's a very fucking gloomy show. It just is. There's not a lot of fun to be had in this show. You know,
no. It's just,
yeah. No,
that's why I said in the very beginning of my part of the non-spoiler, James Gunn just did it better. He just did.
Yeah.
He did it better.
They're fucking like, they're doing like Mission Impossible shit, and people are getting murdered left, right, and center in this thing. You know, just brutally fucking shot in the face and stabbed and all that other stuff. This isn't something that, if your kids love the Marvel Cinematic Universe, skip this motherfucking show, because they are going to be like, what's happening? And like, where are the superheroes? Ain't no damn superheroes in this. This is just some straight up brutal. This is like that part in Casino Royale where Bond gets fucking captured and hammered in the balls repeatedly. You won't want your kids watching that. You don't. You just not. This show is not for the. I don't think this show is for the casual MCU fan. Like, not really. It's too inside baseball in some ways, but also it doesn't. And this, mind you, this is actually a good thing. It doesn't feel like a Marvel thing. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't feel like a MCU thing. It feels like it's doing something else, for better or for worse. And I think it's only for worse because they're slow walking it. If they had cut half of both of those episodes and jammed them into one episode, it'd have been a pretty cool episode. You know? Yeah. But I don't know. They just feel like they're just like, let's see how far we can stretch this out. And I'm like, it's 6 hours. Like, bitch, you could have done this in 3.5. Just saying. So anyway, let's talk spoilers. So if y'all haven't watched this yet, I don't know what you're doing. Go watch the show and then come back to the spoilers. You hear what we have to say. So, which, Lottie, I'm gonna say this spoiler section is probably not gonna be terribly long, just because that first episode, what the hell happened in it? That was, oh well, I know. The only big thing that really happened in the episode, and I hated to see it, but I was like, oh, I guess they really are gonna do things. They killed off Maria Hill. Okay, well. That was random. What a place to die. At least Phil Coulson got killed on the helicarrier in an Avengers movie. You just got shot by.
I did not like that.
You got shot by Rando Scrollerson. You know, on the middle of fake ass, you know, Russian street. Okay, that's kind of messed up.
Yeah,
Even
man.
though
I
it
didn't.
does set up a pretty good scene in the second episode, though.
And I didn't like that at all. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, why? Why did you kill Maria Hill?
Yeah,
Is she too expensive? It's just, is the actress getting too expensive or
they
something?
just
I'm just like,
they just don't know what to do with her.
ah,
In my ideal MCU, she would have been the leader of not fucking Valentina de Fontaine, but Maria Hill would have led the fucking Thunderbolts,
exactly.
which would have been awesome. But we don't get our way.
Or like Maria Hill should be in Maria Hill should be in almost every boots on the ground MCU movie. She should be in Wakanda. She should have been like at least a little bit in Wakanda Forever. She should be a little bit in Captain America, but she's dead now. Anything that has boots on the ground, Maria Hill should be there.
She should be
It's the
leading the
simple
Agents of Shield.
Yeah,
Something like
the
that.
simple fact that she's just we haven't seen her since Endgame. Well, actually, Infinity War when she disappeared till now. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then it was like you said, it was like they're trying to get shock value out of us, and I'm like, we haven't seen the chick in like 4 years, man.
Well, I mean, I still hated that she got killed. I was just like, is she gonna turn into a Skrull? Is she a Skrull? Is she a Skrull? Wait a minute, she's actually a person. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm like. That's what
okay.
I'm saying to myself. That's what I'm saying. Like, why kill off a person that the audience has no connection to?
Right.
Because it's not going to create any shock value. Because the last time we saw her was 5 years ago, Infinity War. That's the last time we saw her. It's not going to make anybody go like, "Oh my god."
Well, I mean, if you watched Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, you've seen her there, but
Oh.
But another thing in that first episode, like they did two big shocking things. The second thing that they did, the first was at the very beginning. They had Martin Freeman come in to reprise his role as Everett Ross, but Ross was a Skrull. So people have been like, "Oh, so was he a Skrull in Wakanda Forever?" No, he wasn't. Like, let's put this shit to rest. Let's put this shit to rest. It took me all of like 30 seconds to be like, oh, I understand what happened. That the Everett Ross is in fucking Wakanda. That is not him.
I knew immediately that was a Skrull. Like, I'm just like, Disney, this is come on now. He was in Wakanda Forever. He wasn't in some obscure Marvel TV show or movie where we saw he got taken away. It was Wakanda Forever. Your second biggest Phase 4 movie? Come on. Everyone knows that's a damn Skrull. Everybody knows.
Yeah.
We knew immediately that ain't him. That's a Skrull.
I mean, I looked at it, I was like, it's when it's clear like, oh, he's the bad guy. I was like, well, I know that ain't the real Ross. And they're like,
and plus, and let me just say this real quick.
Yeah. Yo, go ahead.
Just real quick. That Skrull is a fucking idiot. Picking him. A fucking wanted man. He's one of the most wanted men in America, and you picked him as a disguise. You're a fucking idiot. And to be honest with you, the guy should have realized too, because he's wanted. Well, he is wanted.
The way I look at it is Ross being, basically being in prison and everything. Not everybody knows that. Remember, this guy is kind of a deep cover guy off in Eastern Europe, or in Moscow. So yeah, he wouldn't have been, maybe he didn't know about that. But like, this has been funny to people be like, oh, I got a theory. I'm like, your theory is fucking stupid. That's clearly not. That clearly Everett Ross is in Wakanda, and they took advantage of the fact that he's off the board in order to try to figure out what this guy knows about what the Skrulls are up to. That's it. Like, y'all thinking way too hard about this. Like for real. I mean, and people are like, well, is there a Skrull in Wakanda? Or the real, what the real dumb thing I heard was, oh, maybe Okoye's a Skrull. Fuck no. Like, y'all, let me get this right. So the Wakandans have the only energy shield on Earth. Literally the only people who could have withstood any kind of attack or fight with Thanos, right? With a fucking energy shield, right? And they can't figure out if a scroll is amongst them. You guys are, get out of here. I like this. No, like no at all. And I understand maybe people don't know Marvel Comics that well, so I'm not blaming people for not knowing the comics of Secret Invasion and that literally no scroll could infiltrate Wakanda. They can't.
They pretty much have like DNA scanners and shit.
Yeah, they are incapable. Anyone that they don't want to come in, until
that and Lagvaria.
Until Namor infiltrated that river to get into Wakanda, no one had gotten in there, and he basically had to use damn near magic. He had to go underwater, deep underwater, just to make that shit happen. There ain't no scrolls in fucking Wakanda. Like, that's stupid. Anyway, so those are the two things from the first episode. The second episode, and you know, this whole show has been like shit on Nick Fury. It's just been shit on Nick Fury season all day, every day. The Skrull, no respect for him. Skrulls, no respect. Talos, no respect. Fucking Gaia, no respect. Gravik, no respect. Olivia Colman, I keep forgetting her character's name. The MI6, no fucking respect for him. And Rhodey gave him the business. I'm like, it's one of the most uncomfortable things. It's just like, it's like seeing your dad, you know, it's like seeing your dad tell off your granddad. And you're just like, why? I'm witnessing something terrible happening. There's respect here, but boy, it's eroded. It's like the way Rhodey just lit into him was just like, I'm doing you a courtesy because you fucked up and you're fired. And I was like, wow. Like, I don't know how you felt. I was like, that's a great scene, but Rhodey, you didn't have to go so hard like that.
Rhodey's just pissed, man. He's just been dealing with a bunch of shit, and he was just like, you know what? I'm gonna let you catch this fade.
Yeah, and he even said, you deserve all this smoke. And I was like, damn, Rhodey, you didn't have to go so hard, for real though. For real, you didn't have to. Man, the man already feeling bad enough, and you serving him shitty alcohol. Or is that, no, that was Olivia Colman. But still, like, he's like, yeah, we know about fucking Skrulls. Like, you're terrible at your job. Just get out of here. Like, nobody wants you. I'm telling you. I was like, I lived for that moment, but also I was like, man, the disrespect. So, so I mean, he's really gonna have to work hard to get people to put respect on his name again. But to be fair, do you blame anybody? He is fucking up left, right, and center. Like, he don't know anything that's going on. He barely understands what the threat is. And Gravik is just kind of like, oh, I guess I just have to kill everybody or something like that. It's just, speaking of, Lottie, what do you think about Gravik as a character?
I mean, he's not a bad character. It's just when I'm watching him, as I'm watching the show, and I'm just saying to myself, I'm like, so this is the kid that like pledged his allegiance to Nick Fury, and now he's like, yeah, fuck that old man. So he's now. It's like, how can I say? I still need to see more of him before I can even really make an opinion. So far, he's tricked Nick Fury, and I guess maybe Gaia and Talos with the bombs, and now he overthrew the he's now like the general for the Skrulls. He seems like a guy that really wants what he wants, and I need to see a little bit more before I can really make an opinion of him. But like you said, he's like one of the few interesting like characters in the show right now.
Yeah, which is funny because for the most part, he's pretty two-dimensional. You know, he's got his thing that he wants to do, and he's got just kind of making it happen. He's taken over, he's taken over the company. Now he's going to lead it into the future, I guess. And there's not necessarily people that all agree with him. But the scrolls they're disillusioned. Cool, I get that. It's just I wish there was a little more to him than I'm mad that my parents are dead. All right, scroll Bruce Wayne, sure, but
Yeah.
like the answer is, I guess the answer is to take over Earth. I'm just trying to figure out, and he said a lot of shit about us, destroying our planet, blah blah blah. Bitch, there's a big old fucking I want to ask them for real. Y'all don't have spaceships?
That's what I said.
Like, there's a huge galaxy. You could have found a planet anywhere, but no, it's got to be Earth because reasons. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm like the guards of the galaxy were there twice, or on planet Earth twice. I mean, just I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it's a little bit of it's a little bit of a head scratcher of a villain, of the whole villain arc of they're mad because they were promised a planet they can't get one, and I'm just like,
and they sure they sure as hell can't complain to Carol Danvers, right? First of all, she ain't there. Second of all, she's Captain Marvel. What are you gonna tell her? Speaking of the Guardians, I'm glad you actually brought them up. We got a little peek, just a little peek at the shenanigans that the Skrulls are up to, and it promises to be fun. Nick Fury is like, we can't bring the Avengers in because we don't want them to be portrayed as terrorists by Skrulls. And I'm like, I get that, but how the hell are they going to pretend to be the Avengers when they ain't got no superpowers? Oh, but what's that DNA shit that they're working on over there in that old nuclear power plant?
Mm-hmm.
And you saw like they had just like on the screen, they had a few things. One of them was a frost monster, and one of them was Groot, and one of them was Cole Obsidian. And I was like, I looked at Jennifer, I was like, well, we're getting some super Skrulls in this bitch. Can't wait. I cannot wait for a Skrull that has multiple superpowers, just for Nick Fury to be like, I'm gonna beat you with my eye patch and sternness. But hey, this may be a reason why maybe we'll get Rhodey later on. Maybe, or we'll get some other superheroes. I don't know, but I think we're getting super Skrulls. Maybe that'll set up for some Fantastic Four or something. So that was pretty cool. Last thing is, Lottie, who do you think is a Skrull?
Who do I think is a Skrull?
Yeah. I'm already gonna say one. Talos.
Well, yeah, of course.
No. I think Rhodey might be a Skrull, honestly. But I think the most obvious is the President of the United States.
Well, didn't they show that?
No, his Secretary of Defense. I think his Secretary of Defense or something like that was one of the Skrull Council, and like the Prime Minister of the UK is a Skrull, and then like
I'm gonna tell you another one. Nick Fury's.
Nick Fury's wife. Yes, she is a Skrull. That was, what I had a feeling about that. I was like, why they got this black woman as a Skrull? Because I knew, I was like, I can see through that green skin and everything. That's a black woman underneath there. And then he gets home. He walks in like he hadn't been up in fucking space for 2 years. Just walks in, didn't bring no flowers, didn't bring any food, no takeout or anything, no bottle of wine. He just rolls up, and then she turns into a black woman, and I'm just like, that's a bold choice there. Woman, you can turn into anything, and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna be the most discriminated against race on the planet. That's the way I'm gonna live my life, because I'm a gangster like that.
So the question is, so here's the question. Was she always a Skrull, or is she just a Skrull, like a Skrull pretending to be his wife? If that's true, does 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 Nick Fury not have a half Skrull son and 1/4 Skrull grandkids or something?
You know, that's a good question. I have a better question though. Got a better question.
Hmm.
Does he ask her to turn into other people when they have sex? That. Who cares about all that stuff about kids? Whatever. We want to know.
That would be messed up. She's already trying to make you comfortable by turning into a black woman.
Hey, baby, I wanna fuck Jennifer Lawrence tonight. Can you turn into Jennifer Lawrence? But by the way, can I tell you, Sam Jackson is the Sam Jacksonist in this fucking show. Like I was like,
Yeah.
I thought you were Nick Fury. I didn't realize Sam Jackson was just in this fucking. I know he was in the show. I just didn't realize that Nick Fury was studying to be Sam Jackson for a living, because he is so damn Sam Jackson in this. I'm surprised he didn't say motherfucker in this show. He wants to. It's on the tip of his tongue so many times. The way he said Talos. I think it's like, in fact, what he said. In fact, I think this is your stop. And I was like, damn, Jules, like chill out. Like this ain't Pulp Fiction, dog. It was crazy. I'm like, who? I'm scared that the screenwriters were like, we got Sam Jackson. We got to make him say these things. Like, no, Nick Fury's never talked like that.
Yeah.
What are y'all doing?
That's
It
freaking
makes it
hilarious.
sounds like I'm talking shit about this. I'm just like, man, he's just gonna start talking about snakes on a plane in a minute. If y'all keep up, keep this way, he's gonna be doing that. So, anyway, look, show's fine so far. That's what I'm gonna say. It's fine so far. It's had some really cool moments actually. It's got a few new characters that I think are really quite good, and I want to see more of them. But man, I have to be honest. They've got to get the writing for Talos and Nick Fury better. It's got to get better than it is. And the end game of the Skrulls needs to be more interesting. Like, I get it. Yeah, they're going to take over. To be honest, it doesn't feel terribly intriguing, and it doesn't feel terribly, like, immediate. I want to know when these Super Skrulls are coming around and shit like that. Make me feel like I'm watching some Marvel shit, because right now I feel like I'm watching Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but done worse. So I don't know. Lottie,
I actually heard that.
yeah, that's like any last thoughts on the first two episodes?
Yeah, they just gotta do a little better, man. It's just, I'm not gonna lie, it's a slow burn. It's one of those shows that you're just like, man,
You can say boring. It's fine.
yeah, yeah, it's boring. I just wish, like I said, it's just, I'm just watching it and saying to myself, man, Marvel really made a mistake letting James Gunn go, man. They really, because the more and more I just, like, this show just shows, like, like I said, he did it better. You know what I mean? He had, because let's be honest, the show is almost like a parallel to Peacemaker. You have somebody that's one of them, but on your side. What was the guy's name again? Uh,
Mern.
Mern is a far superior character than freaking Talos. Just being honest, it's not even in the same stratosphere. Mern was so much more interesting. You know what I mean? Just all the different characters, and he had a cast. Like, this just shows you how good James Gunn had to juggle like 6 or 7 characters, made every single one of them interesting. This show only has like 3 characters, and one of them's dead. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just think they need to make this more immediate and need to watch. Right now, it's just like, all right, this is fun, but where's it going? That feels emblematic of Phase 4/5 anyway. Where are they going with this? So, but I have a good feeling about next week's episode. we are getting into the second act of the show. So usually that's the, that is the, exposition phase, but I feel like we've already done the exposition. Time to get into some cool stuff. So, we'll see. We'll see next week. So anyway, those are our thoughts on the first 2 episodes of Secret Invasion. What did you guys think about these episodes, and what did you think about what we had to say? Get down to the comment section, leave your thoughts there, and of course you can always hit us up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. And while you're down there, do us a favor, hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. All that good stuff helps with the algorithm so that more people see these videos and helps us grow the channel. Lottie, can you believe it? I know it feels like we're inching forward like a worm, crawling across the ground. We're at 189 followers. You guys help us get us up to 200, man. That'd be dope. So, and of course, can't do this show by myself. I need Lottie to tell me all about how animation is really hard, and also to give his insight on how they can make Secret Invasion better. So, Lottie, where can they reach you on social media?
You can always find me on my Instagram, which is Anukinihun. It's ANUKINIHUN. Again, it's ANUKINIHUN. And of course, my YouTube channel, which is Kinihun25, just dropped a new animation. It's really good, guys. You're really gonna enjoy it. Spent hours upon hours on it. It's blowing up on Instagram and it's doing well on YouTube. So, if you get a time, critique it. You can watch it, leave a like, or even comment on it, because I love all type of critiques, good or bad.
Yeah, you guys go and check out Lottie's channel. Show him some love. Hit some likes, subscribe, and all that other stuff. So, all right. That has been episode 107 of the Supercast. Can you believe it? It's a good time. Glad you guys stopped to join us here. Thanks for that. Come back next week. We're going to be talking about Secret Invasion episode 3 and all of the news surrounding superhero things in our pop culture media, because that's what we do here. So thanks for joining us on this ride. Until then, I've been Mo, your commentator extraordinaire on all things pop culture, joined by the anime expert, video game designer, and lover of all things superhero, my good friend Lottie. We'll see you guys on the other side of the thread. Peace.
Peace.